Hello, my name is Alex, and today I will tell about attacks on GSM on different GSM devices. Uh, Today I hope we will have two parts of the presentation. In the theory part, I will tell about common attacks, vulnerabilities, and other problems. And in the second practical part, you can try to attack some devices. I prepared SIP accounts, devices. I will tell how you can attack it. And in the final part, we will tell how you can protect your devices if you want to use it. So, firstly, we will discuss which devices exist now. We will start from the GSM alarms. GSM alarms is the alarm system that communicate with the owner with calls or SMS commands. For example, when somebody trespassing to your home, the alarm will start and send a call, start a signal, or send an SMS. I have some devices here today. For example, it is a typical GSM alarm. I bought it on the AliExpress, but you can buy it on the eBay or in other shops, or from the other vendors that told that they do it by themselves. But usually, all the most common GSM alarms created in the China. And you can see some example of GSM devices, but in general, they are very similar. They have the main control block and some keys, some detectors. For example, the magnet detector, which try to catch the moment when somebody opens the door, and then they will try to send the signal. Then we have the smart home controllers. The main idea of smart home controllers with GSM is that you can send an SMS command or make a call to the controller, and it will start some activity. For example, it will switch on or switch off the light, maybe open the door. It is very popular. For example, it is useful to open the gate to the garden. And also we have access control system with GSM controllers. The idea is the same. You can send the SMS or call to this controller, and this controller will open the door, open the gate, or do something else. Then I will show the different controller I have. And we have industrial GSM controller. In general, they are the same as the controllers for home, but usually they have some additional features or more contacts. And we have, for example, funny GSM electric socket. It allows to remotely control any device because you can switch on and switch off the electricity via the call or the SMS command. And I think it is my favorite thing. It is the smartwatch for kids. The main idea of the smartwatch is to give for the parents ability to control their kids. For example, they can know the location, can listen the environment, and send voice messages, text messages, or other messages to the kids. And the main problem is that a lot of smartwatches for kids are insecure. And today I will tell about main problem and main attacks. And I want to do a short classification of the devices. We have controller devices. They are the devices that can be controlled remotely. For example, you can call to the alarm and switch on or switch off alarm. Or you can call to the electric socket and you can switch off or switch on the electricity. I show the short list of the different types of controller devices. Also, we have the managers devices. It is devices that can be controlled remotely, and we can change the settings remotely. For example, in some modern smart home system, you can call or send SMS and change a lot of settings. For example, you can add the new number to control, or you can remove some number, or do some other things. Also, we have a lot of uncontrolled devices. Usually, it is very simple devices, like some alarms. The main idea is the alarm waits until the detector will start working and send the SMS or call. And you cannot do anything remotely. For example, you cannot call to this system, you cannot send the SMS to the system, because nothing will happen. And we have some unmanaged devices. It is a lot of, the devices which cannot be controlled remotely, and you cannot change settings. For example, in a lot of GSM alarms, you can control it remotely, but you cannot change the settings. For example, you can switch on or switch off this alarm, but you cannot change the controlling number for this system. And now we have some surprises, jokes, and really security problems. It is the main thing why I love and hate smartwatches for kids. Because in the most instructions, you will see that you should use the application, and you will see the position of the kid, and you can send the messages or make the call. And they told that it is the only one method how you can control these devices. But if you will do a deep research in the Google, you will find, for example, a lot of SMS commands for the smartwatches. And if you do it, you will find a lot of commands with the default password. And I think nobody will change the default password for the SMS commands if they don't know that the SMS commands exist. Because, for example, I have two different smartwatches for kids, and in the main manual that was attached to these watches, I didn't find anything about SMS commands. And in the practice part, I will tell some words about the SMS commands and what you can do. Okay, so let's discuss different attacks on the GSM devices. And firstly, I want to show some devices that I have. The first and the simplest device is the GSM socket. The main idea is easy. You can call and switch off or switch on. You can watch if you want and give to the other peoples. It is extremely simple thing. And then I have the GSM alarm system. Usually you connect some detectors, and you will get the call or the SMS while somebody opens the door. And for example, you can call to this device and switch on the alarm and listen the environment, because most GSM alarm system have a microphone. And you can watch it too if it is interesting for you. Then I have amazing device that was created by the Russian engineers. It is very strange industrial control device, and also it is used as a part of GSM alarm system. I will tell a bit later why it is so interesting device. You can watch it. In general, you can try to open it, or I will open it later. You can also see this device. Then I have the PSTN alarm system. This alarm system connects to the PSTN phone lines, and it is not the GSM device as general, but I have the connector for the GSM to PSTN, and it allows to use this system everywhere. For example, you can use it in a car, in the train, or in every place when you have the GSM, but you don't have the traditional telephone line. This device is connected, so I cannot send it, but okay, I can send it to the audience. I hope it will be not so loud. Okay, you can see this device. And you can see the GSM to PSTN connector with the antenna. Also, the classical smartwatches for kids. I will tell about the classical problem and a very simple alarm system. This system will just call you if somebody opens the door. And this is the same GSM alarm system that I already showed. I have two very similar systems. Okay, so when the people on the last line will see the system, please return to the first table. I will use it in the practical part. And now we will tell about attacks on the system. The first and the most interesting attack is bypassing the authorization in the system. Usually we have some methods of authorization. The most popular is the password, but the biggest problem is that the common password in GSM alarms is 4-digit password, and the default password 1234. And a lot of people decide not to change it. Also, in the GSM alarm that you can see, we have additional password. It's used for settings, and I think nobody changed it because you should change to passwords, and it's too hard if you want to just put your system on and use it. And in the practical part, you will try to find this password and use it. Also, the popular method is checking the caller ID. The caller ID is displayed phone number when you call. The main problem is that the caller ID can be easily spoofed. For example, you can use the asterisk on your server or just spend $10 to activate your account on spoofcard.com and use the system to spoof any caller ID you want and make the call to some device and, for example, switch on or switch off the electricity. But of course, if this device is used in the industrial, it can be very dangerously because who knows what can happen if somebody can switch off or switch on the electricity on your factory. Also, some devices use nothing for authorization. You can call and use it. For example, it is a common problem on the spy devices, like GSM trackers with the microphone. You can just call, you will get automatic answer, and you can listen an environment. Okay, the other variant is interesting too. You can attack mobile operator if you want to attack some well-protected system. For example, in the previous year, it was really easy to hack a lot of mobile operators in my country, in Russia, because they was not very secure. And in some cases, it was be more easy to hack the operator than hack the well-protected GSM system. There are some most important and easy attack. For example, you can try to remotely block the SIM card, and after blocking the SIM card, the GSM system will not be able to send the signal, send the SMS, make a call. And anybody can open the door. The GSM system will try to send the signal, but the SIM card is blocked, so it failed. And you will lose items in your house. The other variant is you can try to spend all money on the account of SIM card that connected with the device. For example, in Russia too, I found interesting vulnerability that allow to spend all money on the account on one popular mobile operator. And when you doesn't have any money on account, the device cannot make a call, and you will not get an information about the thief who tried to open the door. Also, you can try to change the tariff of the user, and it will allow to, for example, spend all money too, and the device cannot make a calls. If it will be interesting in the second part, I can give a more detailed information of these vulnerabilities, because it's not the main topic of this presentation, but it is interesting too. And you should not, you should remember that exist the classical attacks on the mobile networks, like attacks on the SS7 systems and the other systems. And if you do a strange solution and use GSM alarms or GSM controllers for something that is very important and very expensive, somebody can try to just to intercept SMS with attack on the SS7 or block the calls and use it to steal these things or attack your factory if you use the industrial controllers. And we have some strange attacks on the GSM devices. Firstly, you can find a lot of information about attacks on detectors. You can find a lot of stories on YouTube, on other sites, how people try to jam the signals of detectors, or they they just use the key, and the signal of the key, in some cases, allow to block the other signals of the GSM alarm. And, for example, in the case of this alarm, I found strange problem that you can just put the detectors in the metallic box, and nobody will happen with device, because the device doesn't check the state of the detectors, and usually you can just jam the signal and nothing will happen. You will not get any signal of the alarm. And I think the funniest thing, it is incoming call attack. It works very easy. Some devices cannot make a call with alarm while the other call exists. It means that the attacker, the thief, or the hacker can call to the device, and during the call, he can open the door, and some devices will not send the alarm signal because they have the other call. And it works not for all devices. For example, the device from AliExpress hang out the call if he got an alarm, but some devices can be hacked with this method. And we have some short results. Firstly, an attacker can disable some alarms. Maybe the most interesting attack on the privacy of user. You can listen the environment with microphone. For example, it can be very dangerous if you have the alarm inside your house, and everybody can call, brute force the password. I will tell about the speed of brute forcing, but in general, for the most of GSM alarms, you can brute force all passwords, all 4-digit passwords, in one day. After that, you can switch on or switch off the alarm and listen an environment. And the other things that the gate opener controllers allow to remotely open the doors, and a lot of smartwatches for kids are in danger, and kids are in danger too, because people can listen the environment near the child, can send the fake messages from the parents, and it can be dangerous because the kids usually are ready to trust to the messages from the parents. And the state of some industrial and smart home controllers can be changed. For example, the hackers usually can change the state of the GSM electric socket. And the short information about attacks, that the caller ID checks is totally insecure, but a lot of people and companies still use it as the main method of authorization and in GSM alarms. 4-digit passwords is insecure too, because you usually can brute force it with the calls during one day, and it costs less $1 to brute force the password. Of course, the hidden passwords and default passwords are dangerously too, and some commands that are not mentioned in the manuals are important and dangerously. And now I hope to start the practical part. So we finish the theory part, and if you just want to listen about attacks, it is all for today. And if you want to practice the attack, I hope I will start it in some minutes. So please return the devices. And how the practical part will look. I created 3 simple tasks. You will hack the GSM socket, one GSM alarm system, and PSTN GSM alarm system. You will use the SIP account or your own phones, but using your own phones can be a bit expensive because I use the international numbers in these devices. So, firstly, please open this presentation in your laptops, because I have an information about tasks, the password for the SIP accounts in this presentation. Maybe. I think for the 2 tasks you can use that video, but for 1 task you should use my SIP account, because you need to spoof the caller ID. Oh, okay, if you can. Yes. Yes, I know that for Twilio you should confirm that you are the owner of this phone. So I highly recommend you to download the Dharma app for iOS or Android. It is the SIP caller for the phones. Or if it is impossible for you, I will let you use my tablet, or I will perform some actions in my laptop. So now please download the Dharma app or use the other SIP account and open this presentation. Now I will prepare the devices. Also, I'm sorry because some devices can be a bit loud and some devices will be in Russian, but I will translate all messages if it is necessary, but all information will be in the presentation, all commands and all tasks. Okay, one device is ready, I hope. Okay, so I'm ready to show the first task. It is attack on the electric socket, and I use the Zadarm app connected with the SIP account that was mentioned on the presentation. I hope you open the presentation and you download or you are downloading the application. I connected with the SIP account. And firstly, I can try, or anybody else can try to call to the device phone number. It is mentioned on the presentation to check that it is impossible to change the state of the socket with call from any random number. You will not get any answer. And now the GSM socket is switched off. I don't get any electricity on my tablet. Oh, sorry. It looks like
cannot be set up.
yes, it looks like some problems happen. I will try to fix it now. Sorry. Okay, it looks like the electric socket now gets a lot of calls, and I can not call because it is busy. Okay, I will try a bit later, and now I will try the other tasks. I hope it will be a bit better. Okay, now I'm trying to call to the PSTN alarm system, and I hope in a few seconds I will connect, and I will show how it works. Now this device asks to enter the password. I will use the default password 1234. Oh, it looks like I should call again, unfortunately. And about this device use 4-digit password, but this device allow only 3 attempts to enter the password during one call. But you can make unlimited calls, and I tried it, I count, and it means that in one day you can brute force all variant of password, and you can do anything with this device. But the good news is that this device make a sounds when you want to connect it. The device asks the password again. Oh. So bad, so bad. But, for example, the other GSM alarm allow you to call. It's also allow you to try 3 attempts to enter the password, but it will do it silently, and you cannot check that somebody tries to connect to your device. Oh. Okay, now I connected to this device and I can, for example, switch off this alarm. He told that the system is not active now. And then I want to use the microphone on the device. And it means that you can hear some signal from my laptop. I use it to connect with the SIP account. And it means that I connect to this device remotely, and I use microphone, and I can hear the environment. And if I will be a hacker, and if this device will be used in somebody's home, I can switch off it, listen an environment, for example, and hear some private things. For example, information about relationships, information about business, because some devices are used in the offices. So you can try to do it too. I hope that somebody will be able to do it. You can use the SIP account and call to the device phone number. For this one. Oh. It looks like somebody was able to call to this device, and I hope in a few seconds we will hear the invitation to insert the password. Yes, somebody can try to use the default password. Please use it slowly. One. Oh. Okay, it is maybe the problem with the application, unfortunately. You can try it again. Sometimes there are some problems with the SIP application because to control the devices you use DTMF commands, and sometimes application does not send the signal, and oh yes, somebody can try to enter the password. Yes. It was 3 DTMF signal. Please try again. Okay, please try again. 1. 2. Okay, unfortunately it is 3 signals instead 4. It looks like it was a problem with the signal for the number 1. What's happened?
Кодирование детектора.
Okay. Yes, it is successful. For example, you can press 2 to disable the system and 3 to use the microphone. And now you hear something from your phone. Okay, it means that this guy successfully passed one of the tasks and connected with the default password. In real life, you usually should try to use the default password or brute force it. And we show now that it is possible. So my congratulations.
Система снята с охраны.
Okay, now I connected to the other system.
1, 1, 2. 2. Неверный пароль. Попробуйте еще раз. 1, 2, 3, 3. Неверный пароль. Попробуйте еще раз. 4. 1, 1, 2. Пожалуйста, введите пароль. 1, 2, 3, 4. Нажмите 1, чтобы поставить на охрану. Нажмите 2, чтобы снять с охрану. Нажмите 4 для разговора. 3.
Okay, now I connected to the other GSM device, use the default password, and enable the microphone. It is interesting that for this device, you will not see any signals that shows that somebody connected to device and tries to brute force passwords. And I see that a lot of people decide to leave. So now I want to thank you everyone for the audience. And I hope that the theory part was a bit interesting and useful for you. And I would like to tell sorry for the practical part because I did not expected so many interested people, and unfortunately I don't have a big amount of devices, but I hope that it was interesting for you too. And you still be able to participate. For example, connect to the PSTN alarm. It was made by this guy, and he shows that it is possible. And you can try to call to this alarm system. It is task 3. You should just use any phone number to call and the device phone number to call to the alarm. And you also can use the default password or try to use different passwords and then listen. Okay, so I changed the SIM card for the electric socket, but unfortunately it looks like this device doesn't want to connect to the network. Maybe the walls are too big here. But you still can try to connect to the two GSM devices. And I can tell some words about smartwatches for kids. In general, we have a lot of different models of smartwatches. From the cheap variants like this, like that, they have only two numbers on the phone numbers book, and they doesn't have camera, only GSM location, but also exist a lot of expensive smartwatches, and but they, from the technical side, they are very similar. You can use GPS internet to connect to the smartwatches, and they will send the location of the smartwatches to the server, and parents can also call to the smartwatches like the standard phone. And the most model of smartwatches have some basic SMS commands. These SMS commands allow to get information about the settings. After the SMS command, the watch will send the SMS with all settings, including the numbers on the phone book, the actual IP of the location server, the actual passwords, and other information. Also, and of course, this command requires the password. But by default, the password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it is, I don't expect that a lot of people change this password because the information of the SMS commands are not presented in the default manuals. Also, it is possible to brute force this password. It is a bit expensive and a bit hard because you should brute force a 6-digit password, but in general it is possible. For example, it may require something like a month if you want to send a huge amount of SMS during every minute, but you will be able to control these smartwatches. Okay, now I see that they are connected to the internet, to the GSM network, and I will try firstly to call to the smartwatches, and then I hope I will show the example of the SMS command and the response of this message. Okay, so I call to the watches like the typical phone. And now I will try to send the SMS command with the default password, and I hope that I will get an answer. Okay, and now I get the answer from the watches for the command with the default password, and this answer contains the information about the version of the watches, the ID, email, inserted phone numbers, and the IP address and a port of the location server. So also you can change the settings with the same default password. Okay, so some results for today. The practical part was a bit failed, I'm sorry, but I hope that the theory part was interesting for you, and some results. We discussed the difference attack on the caller ID, on the default passwords, on the brute force passwords, and we found that a lot of GSM devices are insecure. For example, you can brute force the password on the GSM alarm. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to show how you can make a call with, oh, maybe I will still able to do it. I'm extremely hope, because it looks like the socket connected to the GSM. Yes. Finally, the GSM socket connected to the GSM network, and I can show what happened if the device used the check-in caller ID as the authorization method. Now the GSM socket is switched off. Now I make a call with the spoofed caller ID to this device.
How do you set this spoofed caller ID with this VoIP account?
I will answer a bit later because now I want to show that
Okay, sorry.
yes, this device now switch on, and if there will be not the electric charger for my tablet, and for example the industrial sink or some heating system for your home, it may cause some big problems. And about spoofing caller ID, exist some different methods. For example, you can use your own asterisk server. It is a bit hard.
But you need a special PSTN line.
Yes, and it is the reason why it is a bit hard. You can use systems that allow you to do it for the money. For example, spoofcard.com, spoofcall, and the other. They allow you to use any caller ID you want. And
They give you SIP account or
yes, they give you something that looks like a SIP account. You can, for example, use their own mobile app or use the calls from the site. I can show it a bit later if you are interested in. But now for presentation, I use it a bit special and strange method of spoofing caller ID because there are a lot of SIP providers that allows you to connect your phone number and use it as a caller ID. So it is legal because you show that it is your phone number by interesting the code from SMS or receiving a call. But in general, from the technical side, it is the same spoofing caller ID, and it is not so expensive. It is a bit easier, and I think it is the best method you can use in your research.
but you need to prove that this phone is yours.
Yes, in case of the research, it is easy because you can prove.
Yeah,
Uh,
you could use Skype for this too.
Yes, for example, you can use Skype or other method. If you're a hacker, you should spoof the caller ID and you cannot prove. So you can use spoof card for it. Maybe you can open now in your device the site of spoofcard.com, and they described how it works. They are located in the USA, and in the USA, spoofing caller ID is legal until you do not try to use it for crime or for fraud. And if you're a real black hacker, you should use the other method of spoofing caller ID. It is a bit expensive, but it is real black hat.
Okay, so they give you a SIP account that you could use like in a script.
Mm,
Something like that. Or
something bit different. They give you access to the mobile application when you insert the target phone, the caller ID, or you can create the, or you can request the call with the target phone and the caller ID, and then you should call to the special number that they provide, and then they will start the call with the spoofed caller ID,
okay.
and you can call.
Okay, so I can automate this second one with Twilio.
With Twilio?
Because it is just a matter of calling a number that they give me, and this call out will be spoofed, if I understand correctly.
Yes, as I remember that Twilio allow you to use only your Scholar ID
Yes,
and your phone.
But I'm talking about this spoof card allows you to set up a call
Yes.
in the web interface or whatever, and they give you a special call number to call.
Yes.
And if you call this number, your call source number is spoofed.
Mm,
Do I get it right?
yes.
Yes. So I just called this. I just set up this in spoof card. I get this number to call, and I use Twilio to call this number.
Yes, you can
So
use.
I have a spoof call out from Twilio via the spoofcard.com.
Yes.
I'm asking because I'm using Twilio for this. I wrote a script to automate brute forcing the pins, and they work really well, much better than like scripts that I wrote for SIP accounts. Because Twilio is a web platform that does all the low-level calling and SMSing and receiving SMSs and receiving calls for you, and it has like 2 lines in Python to run it. And I could show you the scripts if you want. They brute force the pin very efficiently. I was just lacking this caller spoofing feature, let's say. But if we add this on top of that, if we add this spoofcard.com, we just need to set up the call and then point the Twilio to call there.
Yes.
Instead of original one, we have spoofed call.
Yes. So you can use any method to call to the number that the spoof card will provide you. You can use the Twilio, you can use your own phone, you can use other spoof account, SIP account.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I made similar workshops someday, and I had troubles with my own SIM cards abroad. So next time I bought local SIM cards, and it was much easier.
Yes.
Because it's like the roaming problems. And,
Yes, I meet with the roaming problems too.
Yeah. We could also let the users call to themselves, so they could see this spoofed call. It's costly, actually.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so anybody wants to do something else?
We show other techniques, other than the simple caller spoofing, but that's all. So it's the end of the presentation.
Oh, okay. Unfortunately, I cannot change the pages. Can you help me, please?
Click on the application first. It's a MacBook, right? Huh? Ik denk dat je hem even... Oh, dat is, ja, hij is met zijn screensaver bezig geweest. Zijn eigen laptop van, hoe heet die? Hij staat helemaal niet open. Ja, hij staat wel open met double screen. Oh ja, click on it.
Okay.
Just click on it once. And then you can use the arrows. Just not focused. Just click on it, that's all. Oh. And now you can, if you clicked on it, you...
Oh, okay, thank you very much. Can you please repeat your question?
So, can we go on with the presentation, or this is the end?
Yes, it is the end of the presentation, and I can answer on any questions if you want.
Yes, we can do that. Do you have any questions? No. Anybody else in the room who has a question? Yeah. So, I want to thank you, Alex, for your talk. It was really interesting to hear about these attacks on GSM devices. Just like in the old days with the blue boxing and the precursors in those days that did it with the analog network, there are still a lot of possibilities to do harm on the GSM controlled devices.